In the Angelic Light of Rishi Thoughts by Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya.
Swadhyay is an integral part of sadhana. Swadhyay means self-study in the light of sagacious thoughts and saintly teachings.
It serves as a source of inspiration for our emotional nature and thinking.
Elevated souls have recommended it as an essential part of daily chores. It is crucial for mental and spiritual evolution. Sadhana, coupled with Swadhyay, leads to divine enlightenment. We must be regular and sincere in Swadhyay. Our efforts would be perfect only if Swadhyay is there to help us resolve our day-to-day personal problems and also provide us with the light and courage for self-refinement, social reformation, and adoption and expansion of noble tendencies, which would brighten the future of humanity. Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya.
Improve the state of your life.
If you vow to refine and elevate your thinking and thereby transform the inner domains of your life, the status of your external life will also ascend. Gradually, you will attain all your deserving goals successfully and gracefully. If you are entrapped by the mental aberrations and weaknesses like anger, anxiety, jealousy, greed, or depression, etc.,
you should forget about achieving something worth in life.
You should first overcome these deficiencies of your mind and have sound health and mental and physical activity.
Always think positively.
Think about making the best use of whatever you have, rather than complaining or worrying about what you don't have. The system of nature is such that whatever you possess, be that wealth, children, resources, post, etc.,
that will be ceased to be yours if you ignore, neglect, or misuse it.
Once you review and understand your strengths and weaknesses, and then analyze your expectations with respect to your circumstances and ponder over them,
your trenchant thoughts would themselves pave the way for your rise and progress.
Akhand Jyoti, July 1949. Know your true self. You, the Jivas, live in this world in a state of artificial sleep. You regard this world as real, but this is only like a false dream. It is high time you come out of this illusory influence of Maya. Break the thraldom of misconceptions about your true identity.
Destroy the smog of ignorance that has shielded your inner self by the radiance of Atmagyan, knowledge of soul reality.
Penetrate the 5 koshas, sheets of physical body, energy body, mind, intellect, and the unconscious mind with ego, and liberate your true self. Don't cry I. Rather, chant Om, Om, the eternal sound of the omnipresent. You are the soul, the king of all kings. Recall the words of Upanishads, Tattvamasi. You are that, the Almighty. Realization of that in the self is like becoming that. Uproot your vices, restrain your senses, purify and control your mind and intellect. Learn to distinguish between the truth and the false, the invisible and the infinite. Shun out the petty desires and miseries. Long for the lasting joy of meeting the soul. Inculcate introvert search for the soul. Attain Atmagyan, an ultimate bliss. Akhand Jyoti, September 1949. The first maxim of religion. The first maxim of the eternal religion is that the soul is one, Brahma. But how the one Brahma could be many jivas? Well, it does not become many. It only appears to be manifested in many forms. This illusion is like the mirage of oasis in desert, blue color of the sky, suspicion of a snake in a rope, glow of silver in oyster, etc. What you perceive need not always be real. You should try knowing the ultimate truth by devout endeavors of introvert thinking, self-study, contemplation over the teachings of Brahma Vidya, meditation upon Om, and upon the soul reality of Sat, Chit, and Anand.
All the negativity, misery, fear, and flaws in your life are because of your ignorance of your own self.
Elimination of illusion and kindling of the light of true knowledge is the key to unalloyed joy. Always remember what the Upanishads say. The Jiv and the Brahma are the same. You are indeed the omnipresent soul ever existing beyond the bonds of time and space. Grasp the essence of the divine knowledge of the Vedas. Know that you are the immortal soul, or the self-existent Brahma, the omnipresent, supreme consciousness force. Akhand Jyoti, September 1949. The subtle, subtler, and sublime. Among the 5 basic elements that constitute the universe and the invisible nature, Jal, water and other liquids and fluids, is subtler than Prithvi, solid matter on the earth. It can spread all over the earth. Prithvi is born from Jal and is dissolved in it during Pralay, the final destruction of the universe. Agni is subtler than Jal. Jal is produced from Agni, fire and thermal and other energies. For example, we swelter in heat. Jal evaporates or is absorbed by Agni. The latter is born in Vayu, air and gases. Vayu can spread over Agni and is subtler than it. Agni is dissolvable in Vayu. Akash, space, is subtler than all the 4 elements. Its expansion contains Vayu.
Time, mind, and intellect are subtler than Akasha. Thoughts lie in the mind. Intellect is subtler and superior than mind.
Both exist in the sublime domain of consciousness. What is more sublime than the origin of time, mind, and intellect? It is the Paramatma, the omnipresent supreme consciousness force. This Brahma indwells in every being, everywhere, but we can't perceive it, as our senses, our mind, and intellect are not awakened to realize the sublime. It is only through the unflinching endeavors of sadhana, life after life, that the one experiences this supernatural truth in the inner self. Akhand Jyoti, September 1949. Create your destiny. The one who eats his first morsel after starving for the whole day and putting in hard labor to earn it knows the best taste of bread. He knows real worth of money and would use it best, who perspires his blood to earn it honestly. He alone can measure the magnitude of success.
Who has struggled against all odds.
The one who has learned to smile even in adverse circumstances, who marches ahead with greater zeal after failures, he is the real winner. Those who have no endurance and courage to fight the obstructions in their march towards the goal
often blame their destiny and complain against circumstances and other people.
But this is nothing but making a mockery of their own efforts. It does not lead anywhere, rather hampers their abilities and future attempts.
One who regards himself as ill-omened, or less privileged in fact, shakes his self-confidence and invites more of despair and superstitions.
His success in achieving something significant remains in doubt. Adversities, hardships, and varieties of challenges in the efforts of ascent are tests of whether one deserves success or not. Those who pass it eventually become the conquerors and achievers. Those who do not ought to face failures. This is how one is an architect of his own fate. Akhand Jyoti, September 1949.
In the Angelic Light of Rishi Thoughts by Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya.
The omnipresence of Brahma. There is no origin or end of Brahma, the omnipresent, supreme consciousness force. It is the absolute power that pervades in the manifested, as well as sublime nature. The existence of every form of matter and life is because of this perpetual, extrasensory, infinite energy source. It indwells within and beyond the limitless expansion of the cosmos. The reflection of its presence might appear to us as varied in the immeasurable diversity of nature, but it remains the invariable, indivisible, self-existent Brahma. It is beyond our mental potentials to imagine the subtlest of the subtle,
the sublime, and the grandeur beyond the cosmic expansion,
the infinite. This is because our mind is used to perceive only what is within the sensory grasp. Its imagination is also confined only to the worldly experience. Extrovert aspirations and subconscious impulses emanated thereby. The day our inner mind would awaken and be illumined by the divine aura of spirituality, we would be able to see the Brahma everywhere through the hidden eyes of Gyan, pure knowledge. Akhand Jyoti, October 1949. Let your high imaginations materialize. The ability to imagine is a sign of life. Imagination is indeed important and useful, provided it is empowered by your creativity, vital energy, the force of your inner will. Imagination without this force is nothing more than abrupt, hazy whims of the agile mind, or mere offshoots of untoward tendencies. Engrossment in such imaginations has contrary effects. It diminishes mental alacrity, concentration, and vital force. We should therefore be careful and use our prudence in selecting which imagination is worth pursuing. The human machinery is gifted with the currents of vital energy all around. There is liveliness everywhere, inside and outside. That is what induces zeal, enthusiasm, and energy in a person, and also triggers his imaginations.
But unless one is awakened and has elevated the flow of his vital energy and controlled the mind,
one's imagination might prove to be child's act, daydreams of making castle in the air. Your imagination should be sound and lively. Your wisdom should be able to analyze its worth and resolve to materialize it. All creative projects, inventions, and great achievements are outcomes of such imaginations, of thoughtful minds, supplemented by thorough planning and determined actions. Akhand Jyoti, December 1949. You are here for a great purpose. Have faith that you are originally a great soul. You are not the body. You are for life, not for death. Nothing can harm or protrude you from the path of the great purpose for which you are born. You just have to recognize that purpose. You are never alone, not even in the solitude of forests or top of the mountain without any companion. That omnipresent, almighty God is always with you. He is there in your breath, your mind, everywhere, even while you are asleep. He has given you this life. He wants you to transmute and ascend further. That omnipotent, King of all kings, creator and owner of everything is with you. Then how can you be helpless or weak? If you have realized and surrender your I before Him, believe me that you will remain protected and will win even if the whole world is against you. Surrender before God does not mean that you should stop self-efforts, self-confidence, and just become idle and slave of destiny. Rather, it implies elevation of your self-confidence, refinement of your attitude, thoughts, aspirations, and deeds worth His dignity. This is what leads to unification of the individual self with the Supreme Self. You are here to strive for this ultimate evolution. Akhand Jyoti, December 1949. The cause of dissatisfaction. A wise man should cautiously restrain his needs. This requires prudent continence over the senses and control over the waywardly nature of the mind. A sage preaches, if you want maximum content and joy in your life, you should first restrain your senses and discipline your mind. Draining out your potentials and resources in greed and lust would give you nothing but misery. We are often driven by false impressions of what is really necessary for us. Desire of sensual pleasures, coupled with the advertisements of various things and entertainment, lure us, and we go on wasting our money, time, and efforts in mindless activities. Major loss or paucity of money at times warns us and makes us repent. But this is only temporary. It usually accelerates our efforts of earning more for further spending. The major cause of your discontent and worries is your inability to discipline your own routine and check your habits and desires. You must remember that self-restraint not only strengthens you financially, but also physically and mentally. It is the key to all-round success and happiness. Akhand Jyoti, January 1950. Stick to your resolutions. There are ample opportunities in this world for the alert and prepared ones, those who adapt to the demand of the situation and attempt sincerely in the desired direction often make best use of the opportunities.
But that would lead to good progress towards a high goal only if one does not deviate from the chosen aim.
One should proceed towards the goal with full preparation. but should also be open to constructive criticism
and consequent improvement in one's abilities and strive.
There are a few brave fellows who dare recognize their own flaws and make an honest attempt to rectify them. You should be like them. Transform your outlook, objective, and personality to become a better, more alert, and illumined person. Set your goals after thorough review, then plan your actions wisely. Once you resolve to proceed with what is planned, you should stick to it firmly like a rock. No obstruction or difficulty should be able to shake you. Often, it is seen that people start with high hope and grand plans, but escape in between. You should learn from their mistakes and be cautious to avoid erroneous approach. Remember, God helps those who help themselves. The world would follow you if you help yourself and reach great heights on your own. Akhand Jyoti, January 1950. How to improve our economy. The profession of begging is a curse on our national character. Equally harmful and pitiable is the trend of having luxurious life, show off, via loans and debts. People are seen spending much more than what they should in view of their limited income. Those who enjoy festivals and fun fairs on borrowed money, in fact, insult themselves and degrade the dignity of life. They have no savings and keep asking for money to their friends and relatives in case of emergencies or for major purchases,
under the pretext that they would refund it soon.
This habit of borrowing is as inferior as begging. Those having self-respect prefer starving to selling their prestige. You should know that austerity and assiduity are the basis of wealthy progress of the individuals and the society as well. You should cultivate the habit of living according to your economically planned budget. Cut down your comforts. Even accept hardships if you are short of money. Don't feel tensed or bad about your low income. You can always improve your economy by further hard work and observing a self-restrained, austere lifestyle. Extravagance is the worst enemy and disease. Protect yourself from it. If you have more money, that should be saved for emergencies and utilized constructively for further generations of wealth, which would help upliftment and self-reliance of many others, rather than being drained out in luxuries. Money is not for insane joys. Its value lies in adding to economic ascent. Akhand Jyoti, January 1950. Focus at your aim. The human mind is endowed with immense power. However, its agility often makes it futile. One's mental power mostly remains scattered and haphazard in the instability and abrupt wandering of the mind. Mental concentration is a must for successful completion of the task at hand. If you focus it at the chosen aim, its power gets deeply engaged in what you want to do. It then plays wonders. Most frequent, nearest, and dangerous obstructions in accomplishing something are the fluctuating tendencies of mind, which keep perturbing and diverting its concentration. The uncountable varieties of thoughts, imaginations, curiosity, ever-changing desires of the mind are reflections of its diversified tendencies. A possible way to control these is to encourage those tendencies that would generate the thoughts favorable to our objective, holding it onto corresponding imaginations with boosting incentive of thinking about the gains of completing the task also helps greatly. At the same time, we have to be alert in countering the diverting thoughts and attractions. This is indeed a Herculean effort.
But nothing is impossible for a determined human self.
Your progress may be slow and frustrating, but if you continue it with patience, sincerity, and willpower, you will triumph in your strive. Once you are able to engross your mind in what you want, desired success will be at your doorstep. Akhand Jyoti, February 1950. Good deeds wane ill omen. The consequences, phal, of good or bad karmas, deeds of a person done in the past lives or earlier phase of the present life, are indeed destined to occur at the appropriate time. This is the absolute law of karma that accounts for one's fate. How long will it take for materialization of the karma phal in one's stock, prarabdha, is unpredictable and inexplicable because of the infinite complexity and constraints of one's interactions with other people and living beings under different circumstances, mental state, etc., in different lives. What is essential for us is to realize the importance of righteous conduct and adept transactions of duties to shape our future destiny. It is only the present which is in our hand. Your noble deeds, altruistic service performed in the present will help annulling the negativity of your evil deeds in the past, and thus help reshaping your ill omen to some extent, or alleviating its severity. The greater your virtuous actions and saintly attitude, the more intense will be this favorable effect. The great lives of Shivi, Dadiji, Harishchandra, Prahlad, Dhruv, Pandavas, etc. evince this fact. Though they did face adversities in earlier phases of their lives, because of the prarabdha, their noble deeds eventually bestowed immortal glory and success upon them. Those on the rightest path get immense courage to fight their destined bad luck, but the sinners, or those on the immoral, long path, malign even their good luck and pile up miseries for futures. Which way would you like to go? The choice is yours. Akhand Jyoti, February 1950. Why fear from death? The major cause of your fear from death is your ignorance that gives you a feeling and impression that your worldly belongings and the world around you is your property. It increases your attachment with whatever pleases you.
So, you don't want to leave it.
Separation from the loved ones becomes torturous for the jiva, individual self. It is also at extreme pains at the time of death, because when it looks back at the life, it finds that a rare opportunity was lost in the vain. It's like repenting for missing the train due to carelessness and lethargy. Human life is indeed the rarest and greatest of the bequests bestowed by the Almighty.
If you far-sighted righteous use of every moment of it,
live for the welfare of the soul rather than for momentarily sensual pleasures and egoist attachments, then there will be no cause of worry or fear at the time of death. The latter would be like a transition for a brighter future, a new life, a better opportunity blessed by God. So don't be scared of anything.
Follow the path of duty gracefully with wisdom, patience, courage, and faith in the dignity of life.
Death will also then be an occasion for peace and content and newer opportunities. Akhand Jyoti, April 1950.
In the Angelic Light of Rishi Thoughts by Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya.
A new plan for self-improvement. A constructive approach to self-refinement and transmutation of personality is to first understand self-psychology and complexes.
Even while procuring a small instrument or household, you examine all its features, utility, etc. in detail.
Then why this most evolved, unique creation of God, the human body, is never studied? It is really pitiable that most of us remain ignorant about its enormous power and wonderful potentials, and spoil this majestic instrument in negligence. More amazing are the powers of the mind. Nothing is impossible to be achieved by its intellectual faculties. Its extrasensory powers and inner treasure of spirituality are the source of divine evolution. But all these remain hidden, unrevealed, because we never look inward. What more? Even our conceptualization of knowledge remains hazy, superficial, and confined only to the perceptions of the physical world, materialistic manifestation of nature. Our extrovert approach and ignorance results in virtually making our inner abilities dormant and losing them. If we care for self-evolution and ascent in life, we will have to strive for knowing our qualities and awakening our hidden potentials. Unflinching efforts of introspection, self-study, and self-refinement are most crucial and beneficial in this regard. Most vulnerable and nearest enemies of progress in this direction are accumulated negativity and consequent despair and frustration upon failures. We have to be cautious against these and firmly follow our determined path.
Gradually, the force of inner will would strengthen and inspire us.
Akhand Jyoti, April 1950. The secret of human dignity. Of all the creatures, human being alone is gifted with the liberty to choose the path of evolution or decline as per his will and actions.
This is why human species is termed as the crown prince of the Supreme Creator.
Your weaknesses and vices are only temporary diversions or mutations. Your original nature is pure, as you, a human being, are a part of the divine self. You can restrain and remold every habit, every desire, as per your resolutions. God will inspire your will and courage once your individual self determines to evolve. Then why do you live like a slave of your senses or worldly circumstances? Don't you want to live a life of self-respect and freedom? If yes, then be self-dependent. Never think yourself as poor or deprived. Let your self-confidence awaken and recognize its inner strength. If you have faith in the Almighty, you should not care for people's criticism or scorn. If you are on the path of enlightenment, the grace of God will always be with you. Instead, if you like to please others, you will end up losing your own happiness, and still they will remain discontent. The more you please the world, the greater will be its demand. One who recognizes the power of the soul, who is duty-bound and makes honest and best use of his natural potentials, is wise. He marches ahead along the path of greatness, worth the dignity of the Crown Prince of God. Akhand Jyoti, May 1950. Focus at your goals. If you really want to be happy and successful in life, begin with setting up your goals. All your thoughts, activities, aspirations should be motivated by this main purpose. Be like Arjun of the Mahabharata. He used to see nothing except the focused target of his bow. Concentrate upon yourself. Analyze your present status, capabilities, qualities, with respect to what is necessary for accomplishing what you aim for. Don't look at what others are doing. Their abilities, circumstances, objectives may be quite different from yours. For example, being impressed by a good singer, you can't jump over to music unless you have natural inclinations towards it, and you can pursue long-term training and dedicated practice required for mastering it. Remember, being focused at the target does not mean only its imagination and daydreaming. It simply implies that your efforts and your activities should revolve around the chosen objective. This means greater efforts and more work, rather than only planning and thinking. Once you choose the correct direction, don't deviate. Work hard with patience and enthusiasm. Enjoy it without any fear, depression, or despair. It will take you to the desired goal at an accelerated pace. Focusing the mind and deeds at a prudent goal and being engrossed in it is among the preeminent qualities of elevated personalities. Concentration of mind with willpower at a chosen aim plays wonders. This is the secret of all magnificent achievements and historic successes. Akhand Jyoti, June 1950. Support of divinity. It is certainly not a sign of matured intellect to waste this precious life in the fulfilling the greed of the senses. Ironically, majority is driven today by this folly. Despite knowing the fact that following the crowd leads one nowhere, many of the blind traditions and customs are part of our lives simply because of social backing. Look, for example, at the artificialness and the tendency of show-off, gorgeous celebrations on social occasions, etc., which have become a common observation in today's society, in spite of virtually burying many families under debt and spreading corruption. The tendency of grabbing and possessing more is like filling the tummy of a sick child with the sweets he likes, and thus inviting his untimely death. Following the majority trends today will only expand absurdity and cruelty. Don't you see that? Avarice, sensual lust, ego, and selfishness, etc., are the devil's tendencies which have challenged the very existence of humanity. The support of divinity is essential for the survival and evolution of mankind. Most of us worship God in various forms, but the light of divinity remains far beyond. How can we adopt divinity and have its support if we don't even bother to follow what we pray for? Or what are the teachings of our devotional chants? What the Gayatri Mantra conveys? It reminds us of the preeminent radiance of pure intellect, divine virtues that are indwelling everywhere within each one of us. It calls to us to awaken and follow the illumined path of righteousness, enlightened wisdom. Akhand Jyoti, July 1950. Elixir of divine life. The span of life is limited, and time is flying with the tiniest fraction of every moment. The thraldoms of the world fill it with misery because of one's ignorance.
You should uproot this cause of agonies and enjoy the elixir of immortal, divine life.
There is a state of consciousness which rests in eternal peace and absolute joy.
There is no lust, no avarice, no worries, no fears, no sufferings, no pains, and no death there.
Would you not like to experience this blissful state of divine beatitude? Then you first change your attitude. Follow the path of spirituality. Spirituality is not an imaginary whim or emotional excitement. It is the source of soul knowledge, ultimate realization, and beatifying, everlasting bliss.
Considering the body as the self and discarding the eternity of the soul is a sinful delusion.
It drags you to fall in the trap of sensual avarice and irreversible decline. You should therefore recognize your true identity, restrain your senses and mental agility, purify your inner self, inculcate virtuous tendencies, love your true self, your life, your soul. Meditate every day upon the soul reality. Seek and adopt the light of spirituality. Akhand Jyoti, September 1950. Worshipping the World Mother, Brahma, the omnipresent, eternal consciousness force, is beyond perception of our senses and conception of our intellect. There is no direct way to reach its realization. The devotional practices, spiritual disciplines, and endeavors of jap, tap, etc. are only the best possible means and supports in this regard.
It is the awakening of Satoguni, Chit Shakti,
absolute purity of the soul, ultimate knowledge alone that enables the linkage of the individual self with the Supreme Self, unification of the soul with the Brahma. It is only the sadhana of Gayatri which activates the Satoguni Shakti. This is why all our Vedic rishis, spiritual sages of all ages, had endeavored and devout sadhanas of Gayatri. Ultimate salvation is not possible without Gayatri sadhana. It is the primordial force of Gayatri, which is worshipped in different manifestations of Shakti as Saraswati, Lakshmi, Mahakali, Maya, Prakriti, Radha, Sita, Savitri, Parvati, etc. Gayatri is therefore revered as the mother of gods, nature, and the universe. Gayatri is the will, power, and activity of Brahma. She is therefore the source of all creation, evolution, and ultimate salvation. Divine virtues, beauty, joy, compassion, mercy, love, benevolence, glory, success, prosperity, are manifestations of her preeminent grace. The impulse of her supreme force rejuvenates, excels, and elevates the flow of life. We may also attain divine realms and beatifying bliss by the upasana, sadhana, and aradhana of Gayatri. Akhand Jyoti, September 1950.
In the Angelic Light of Rishi Thoughts by Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya.
Expand your sensitivity. Feeling the pains of others' suffering is sensitivity. The compassion, kindness, generosity for others is sensitivity. A heart devoted to God is certain to be pervaded with love and sensitivity. One who has true faith in God sees His presence in every being and therefore has a feeling of sacred love for everyone. His heart pulsates for the welfare of all. He can't bear the miseries of others and runs of help, leaving aside his own pleasures and problems. Devotional practices and prayers must enhance the sensitivity of the devotee.
Otherwise, these are no better than performing some rituals and begging before the Almighty.
Sensitivity is a sign of sainthood. It also nurtures goodwill and mutual respect. Good people are always careful about not hurting anyone. The qualities of carrying love, cooperation, and modesty also flourish with the expansion of sensitivity. Wisdom of a person glorifies only if coupled with a compassionate heart. The vrittis, intrinsic traits of love, harmony, kindness, and prudence, farsightedness, etc., are interwoven. Growth of one expands the others too. Healthy progress of a society depends upon collective efforts of altruistic service, which will be possible only if people are sensible and caring. The greater the expansion of sensitivity and altruism in your heart, the more will be the extent of peace and happiness in your personal, familial, and social life. Akhand Jyoti, October 1950. Don't despair. You feel depressed because of doubts in your future success and unknown fear of the consequences of failure. Your self-confidence is shaken and you feel entrapped by ill omen. Inferiority complex and the related negative thoughts have stormed your mind and disturbed your personality. Don't let these untoward thoughts sprout in your heart. You should divert your mind by engaging it in lighter, creative, entertaining works. Unless you give yourself another chance, you won't be able to estimate your strength. Until a person does not believe that he can do it, he won't be able to do anything. Deep inside, listen to your inner instinct. Whatever your inner voice directs, you must initiate that task with full faith. Don't panic or get scared of anything. Don't let even traces of skepticism or frustration come your way. Just drag yourself to begin the work. Your mind will also cooperate after some time. Rest assured, every being can do something at least. You're a human being, gifted with so many things. Don't compare yourself with those who are more successful. Look at those who are deprived of many faculties that you have. Your life is like a lamp, whose flame will stand and continue to illumine only if it is filled with the oil of hope and optimism, without which there will be nothing but an endless ocean of gloom, dullness, and lifelessness or death. So keep your life full of positive thinking and some dreams of success to enthuse your mind. You can do and win once you vow to. Akhand Jyoti, November 1950. Building the future generations. The little ones in your home are the future citizens, architects of future of the society. God has entrusted the responsibility of raising them and building their character upon your shoulders.
You must take due interest in their proper education and cultured refinement.
The ambience of your home, your culture, and lifestyle has utmost impact on the mind of your child. Everything happening around leaves an inscription upon his delicate memory and brain system. His or her habits and tendencies are molded according to those of the other family members. If you are not kind, generous, and tolerant in your day-to-day interactions, if you don't love and respect your relatives and neighbors, you can't expect your children to be good. If you drink wine, eat meat, and other harmful stuff, then your children will get used to them. How will they observe discipline of healthy nourishment? If you can't leave your habit of using abusive language and uncivilized manners, you have no right to scold your child for doing so. If you watch obscene films, read erotic literature,
Substandard TV programs,
you are sowing the seed of vulgar lust and untoward tendencies in your children's mind, and thus contributing to spoiling their character. The mental makeup of the children is like soft soil, which could be molded as per the shape of the mold. Your personality works like a mold that predominantly casts the children's trait. Impressions of what they learn at schools are secondary. You should therefore first refine and discipline yourself to be a model of what you would like your children to be. Akhand Jyoti, January 1951. Selecting a true friend. Finding an ideal neighbor or a true friend is really difficult. Many times, you find that people become your friends only because of their vested interests or selfish motives. They don't help you when you need. A true friend is one who stands with you in the testing moments, who gives rightest guidance, whose company expands your good qualities. You should therefore choose a friend cautiously in view of his background, habits, interests, and culture. One good friend is enough if he's wise, hardworking, truthful, and helping in nature. True friends are those who would warn against a wrong move and directly or indirectly help alleviate and wane our vices, whose company would increase our faith in human values and ideals. This can be expected only from those who have strength of character and will, who adopt certain values in their conduct, who endeavor self-refinement.
Sugriva was indeed blessed when he had found the support of a divine friend like Lord Ram.
We may not expect to be so lucky,
But we could certainly look for the company of enlightened people. In any case, our friends should be pure and kind at heart, modest, honest, and cooperating. Friendship with good people is no doubt a source of empowerment and ascent in several respects.
Akhand January 1951. Essence of knowing God. God does not exist in a visible form. Neither does he need your worship or devotion. He doesn't become happy with someone who offers him worships and prayers, nor unhappy with those who do not.
Every being is alike for him.
Devotional practices, prayers, rituals of worship, etc., only serve as tools for spiritual exercise of conditioning our mind. Spiritual practices help enhancing our inner strength and sattvagun to purify our intellect, inner sight, so that we could grasp the fact that God is omnipresent, supreme power. Anyone who knows that God is everywhere will naturally be scared to commit anything sinful or wrong. A true devotee will see the light of God indwelling in every good thing, every noble deed and virtue. One who knows that God is present in every soul will be good to all creatures. Cultivation of this attitude is the main purpose of the devotional practices. Prayers, chanting of mantras, meditation, etc. are excellent methods of psychological upliftment and refinement of intrinsic character and righteous orientation of mental tendencies. These gradually enable us to experience the inner self and inculcate virtuous tendencies. Even a sinner could purify himself and transmute into a saint if he listens to the inner voice and follows it sincerely. The divine message of the Holy Gita, take refuge in the holy feet of God, you will be free of all sins, also guides us for the total surrender before the soul of absolute liberation and ultimate realization of God. Akhand February 1951. The soul is Brahma.
Do you know yourself?
It is not merely the physical body and the name given it that define your identity. Your true self is the soul.
You need to begin by restraining your senses and controlling your mind to look introvert and at least feel your mind first.
The realization of the soul element is much deeper and sublime. This is the ultimate accomplishment, absolute joy and completeness for which you have been taking birth, life after life. Break the shell of ignorance and delusion and bathe in the radiance of pure knowledge. Your devotion, worship, study, labor should all be focused at self-refinement by uprooting your vices and flaws and inculcating virtuous tendencies and self-study.
In the light of the thoughts and teachings of enlightened personalities, sages, and saints,
recognize your inner quest for joy, which because of your illusion and negligence is wrongly conceived by your mind as the passions for worldly pleasures. The pleasures of the senses, satisfaction of worldly possessions, is not only momentary.
It further drags you in the darkness and eventually throws you in the mire of discontent, sufferings, and sorrows.
Come out of your daydreaming, awaken your wisdom, strive to experience the light of your soul, which is omnipotent, all-fulfilling eternal bliss and ultimate reality, the Brahma. Akhand February 1951. Your prana pervades everywhere. Gayatri Vidya enlightens you to see the fact that the same soul is present in everyone. Same prana, vital spiritual energy, is flowing everywhere in the cosmos, in every being. Your true welfare lies in the welfare of all. Others' pains are yours too. Therefore, you should never accept or expect any benefit which is going to trouble or harm anybody else in some way. Do not regard anyone else as inferior to you. Avoid judging or discriminating people on your scale. You should expand the domain of self-interests to wider and wider parts of the human society. Let the feeling of oneness, benevolence, and selfless love expand beyond any limit. Don't behave with others in a way that you would not like others to behave with you. Everyone expects others to be nice to him. He expects none to ever harm, cheat, hurt, or insult him.
He wants friends and relatives to be kind and supporting whenever he needs.
But then he should also observe the same with others. If you care for others, be good to them. Then only you can expect them to care for you and be good.
As you sow, so will you reap.
The happiness or joy of others, in a way, contributes to yours too. welfare of the world is the welfare of all individuals.
Because there is one cosmic soul manifested in all beings. The devotees of Gayatri should realize this teaching and expand selfishness into selflessness. This is the sole way to spiritual accomplishments and divine evolution of the individual self.
Akhand Jyoti, March 1951. Like you, like your world. Your world is a mirror of what you are. If you are good, the world you experience will be good. If you are happy, you will find the world happy. On the contrary, the same world would appear sorrowful to you if you were sad. So the state of your world is relative. It varies according to your mood, your attitude. If you cultivate a happy temperament, even the hardships would appear to you as tests to examine your capabilities, opportunities,
to let you increase and improve your potentials and excel further in the march of life.
You will this way transform all your adversities into means of progress. This spiritual attitude will eventually empower you to solve others' problems as well. Achieving this is like accomplishing a grand tap, which requires tolerance, sacrifice, and penance, with unflinching zeal. But this, whatever be the state of your mind today, your circumstances today, try attitude to inspire positive thoughts, peace of mind, and happiness in you. Sincere attempt and practice will induce greater strength and courage, and gradually make you smarter of your world and successful in materialistic as well as spiritual ascent. Akhand Jyoti, March 1951. Brighten your attitude. Don't lose your heart if you are attacked by adverse circumstances, tragedies, hardships, and failures today. Nothing is permanent in this world. Don't cry over your fate or blame anyone else for it. You just change your outlook. The root of what all you face in this world lies in your own nature, your past or present karma. So let things happen as other natural events. Most often, the agony or suffering appears more severe and unbearable than it actually is, merely because one's low tolerance or inability to cope with them. You look introvert and convince your mind that your real self has immense power and is unaffected by external circumstances. This will inspire new courage and condition your mind to think differently. Let positive thoughts and selfless attitude brighten your horizons. It is impossible to have a healthy, hearty, and progressive life despite having a short-tempered nature, jealousy, greed, and unbalanced thinking. Have a critical look at yourself. Review your good and bad qualities, and attempt diminishing the untoward and enhancing the beneficial tendencies. Be optimistic. Think positive. Be good. Proceed ahead with the hope of a brighter and happier tomorrow, with higher achievements. Look at your life with a new perspective. You will soon experience a welcome change in everything. Your life will now have a new meaning, a superior goal. Akhand Jyoti, March 1951. Karma without any expectations. Fate and karma, or destiny and deeds, are two sides of the same coin. As the milk of today turns into curd tomorrow, the same way the karmas of the past appear as the fate of the present. This is why the savants remark that you are the architect of your own destiny. You are the creators of your life. Whatever good or bad you did earlier, the consequences of that are before you in the form of good or bad, favorable or agonizing happenings in your life today. If you are ignoring your duties towards your family and society today, or being cruel or immoral in any way, you sure are piling up sufferings in your future destiny. Living a righteous and dutiful life without getting perturbed by the outcomes is Karma Yoga. You should follow it. Often, people misinterpret Karma Yoga and Vairagya and become indifferent and feel dejected from everything. Many just escape from their duties too. This is wrong. Dejection, lethargy, dullness, or inactivity is not Vairagya or detachment. Sacrificing ego, greed, or desires of comforts in spite of having all resources for luxuries is true renouncement. Escaping from hardships in the name of sacrifice is cheating on your own self. Renouncing something which you don't have access to is also not enough, as the test of whether you will refrain from its attraction, even you had it, remains incomplete. The best way to achieve Karma Yoga is to make the home like a tapovan, where you sincerely transact your duties towards the family and society, but live an austere and disciplined life. This is how a Karma Yogi attains true Vairagya and reaches near the spiritual realms of absolute salvation. Akhand Jyoti, April 1951.
Tip for eminent sadhanas.
Don't utter anything without thinking. Speak only whatever is necessary. Observe silence as far as possible. Do more of your duties rather than imposing your rights in the momentary world. Expecting people or circumstances to conform your hidden or expressed desire is egotism. Avoid it. Don't waste your energy and time in mindless fighting if things go against your rights or will.
This will save you from enormous hidden evils and untoward consequences at worldly, mental, and spiritual levels.
You are already born with the preeminent right, that of unifying with Brahma, realizing Aham Brahmasmi. Be sincere and regular in introspection and self-analysis. Observe penance and self-continence for self-refinement. This is tough, but essential. If you are cautious against the vices and are determined to eliminate your shortcomings, you are indeed wise. If you have the property of chastity, integrity of character, kindness, pure love, tolerance, compassion, forgiveness, and calm nature,
you are a mighty winner.
Acquire these treasures of human values, company of elevated personalities, saints, and sages, and study of their thoughts, help protect you from negativity and accelerate your spiritual progress. Adopt the above-mentioned simple practices of sadhana in every aspect of your life. You will acquire eminent success. Akhand Jyoti, April 1951. Literature for the New Era. Good books are like living gods. Gamut of such enlightening books are authored by sagacious visionary Pandit Sriram Sharma Acharya, focusing on the root cause of the problems of today and providing feasible and viable solutions, reformatory, reconstructive, as well as evolutionary, to help the world usher into the new era of peace, prudence, and prosperity. Thousands of books, booklets, and volumes of his literature in Hindi encompass wide-ranging topics including spirituality, devotion and sadhana, religion and culture, the super science of sound and mantra, personal, familial, and social development, eradication of evil customs, deep psychology, total health, plant medicine and yajnopathy, education and true knowledge, self-reliance, environment, ascent of women, future of the world, evolution of consciousness. These provide rare knowledge and guidance in a lucid style within the reach of everyone. Translations are available in English and several other languages.